Welcome to the deep dive. We take concepts everyone thinks they know, and then we peel back the layers, see what's really underneath. Today, we're plunging into a word you hear constantly: karma. Most of us probably have a general sense of it, right? But prepare for a journey. It might challenge what you think you know about cause and effect, maybe free will, even your own daily habits. Our guide for today's deep dive is, maybe surprisingly, a really rich Wikipedia article. It's packed with insights from ancient traditions, modern thought, all about karma.
Yeah, and our mission here is pretty straightforward. We want to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights from all that information. We want to help you, our listener, get truly well informed on this, well, really multifaceted topic, hopefully with some surprising facts, maybe just enough humor to keep things interesting.
Okay, let's unpack this then. You might think you know karma, but I'm already getting those aha moments just looking through our source material here. So if I ask someone on the street, what's karma? They'd probably say something like, oh, what goes around comes around. Yeah. Action, work, or deed, and its effect or consequences. Sounds almost too simple.
That's definitely the common starting point. And it's not wrong exactly, but the Sanskrit meaning of karma, that immediately takes us deeper. See, in the ancient text, karma is different from kriya. Kriya is more like the activity itself, the physical doing. Karma, though, that refers to both the action and, crucially, the intention behind it. Some scholars even talk about it like a metaphysical residue left in the actor.
A residue, like an imprint.
Kind of, yeah, like an energetic stamp, maybe, or a subtle programming left on your inner self every time you act intentionally. So, good intent, good deeds, they lead to good karma. And, well, it follows that bad intent and bad deeds lead to bad karma.
Okay, that distinction, intention, that's absolutely critical because you hear karma tossed around, meaning fate or destiny or like everything's predetermined. But the source material makes it clear. Sanskrit actually has specific words for those ideas, like prarabdha.
Exactly. Prarabdha refers to the part of your past karma that's ripening now in this life. It's not saying everything is locked in stone. And this is where it gets really interesting. This principle of karma, or the karma theory, the law of karma, it's complex. It's derived from these ancient Indian texts. And its definition isn't just one thing. It kind of weaves together three key themes: causality, ethicization, and rebirth.
Right, okay. Let's break those down. First one, causality. This seems to be the core idea, right? That your actions, and just as importantly, your intentions affect you and the life you live. There's this incredible quote from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, a really, really old text. It puts it so well. Something like, as a man is like this or like that, according as he acts and behaves, so will he be. Basically, good acts make you good, bad acts make you bad. Pure deeds make you pure, bad deeds make you bad. And then it links it to desire. As is his desire, so is his will. As is his will, so is his deed. And whatever deed he does, that he will reap.
Wow. Yeah, that quote nails it, doesn't it?
Okay.
It shows how central causality is, and not just physically. It's also worth noting, in traditions like Buddhism, actions done without intention or disinterested actions, they often have a neutral karmic impact. And the consequences of karma, they can show up into two ways. There's phala, that's the immediate visible effect. And then there's samskara, that's more invisible. It's a transformative effect inside the person. It changes your capacity for happiness, your tendencies.
So phala is the obvious result, like you help someone, they thank you. Samskara is the subtle shift inside you because you acted generously.
Exactly. Think of phala as the fruit you see right away, and samskara as the way the tree itself changes subtly over time, affecting future fruit.
Huh. That makes me think about habits. Like, if you're trying to break a bad habit, say, mindlessly scrolling social media, you're actually doing conscious karmic work there. Scholars like Karl Potter and Harold Coward connect this to psychology. They say karma literally seeds habits, influences how we see ourselves, shapes our character.
Precisely. And that leads right into the next principle: ethicization. This is the premise that morally good acts bring positive consequences. Bad acts bring negative results, either in this life or, maybe a future one. But it's really important to get this. It's not seen as reward and punishment from some cosmic judge. It's more like the law that produces consequence automatically. Good karma is dharma, leading to punya, which is merit. Bad karma is atarma, leading to pap, demerit, or sin.
So the intention, again, that's what makes it ethical, right? It's not just the action, but the moral quality behind it.
Exactly. Intentions, attitudes, desires.
Yeah.
They're all part of the evaluation. That's what makes it such a profound ethical theory, not just mechanical cause and effect.
Okay, and the third pillar was rebirth, or sasara. This is that fundamental cycle of reincarnation idea, right? Common in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism. The basic idea being that your future life conditions depend on the quality of your past karma.
That's the one. And what's fascinating here is the sheer variety of views on rebirth, even back in ancient India. Some schools thought it was absolutely essential. Others saw it more like, well, a hypothesis, maybe derivative. And then you had schools like the Charvakas or Lokayata. They totally ditched the idea, called it flawed fiction.
Really? So not everyone bought into rebirth.
Not at all. And it definitely presents philosophical challenges like, where did the cycle start? How can you prove it? Tough questions.
Let's maybe trace the history a bit. The word itself, karman, in Vedic Sanskrit, it just meant work or deed, often related to rituals.
Yeah, initially. Like in the context of Shraddha rituals, some early texts, like the Satapatha Brahmana, even linked performing certain rituals correctly with gaining immortality, or at least a better afterlife. But the concept definitely evolved beyond just ritual acts. The Vedic language already had words for sins, papa, and virtues, puja, and that Upanishad quote we mentioned earlier from the Baihadaranyaka. One becomes good through good deeds, evil through evil deeds. That's one of the earliest really clear discussions connecting actions to inherent quality. What's also interesting and kind of murky is the influence back and forth between the Vedic thinkers and these early Shramana traditions, like the ones that came before Buddhism and Jainism. It seems these ideas might have sort of co-developed.
Okay, so focusing on Hinduism, karma evolved over centuries there. The early Upanishads talked about what happens after death. Different paths. You mentioned Pitrayana, the path back into the cycle.
Right, the path of the ancestors leading to rebirth.
And Devayana, the path of the gods, a way to potentially break the cycle.
Exactly. Moving towards liberation, not immediate recycling.
And then the epics, like the Mahabharata, they really brought these ideas to the masses, didn't they? Through stories. I remember reading a line something like, "As a man himself sows, so he himself reaps. No man inherits the good or evil act of another man." Very direct causality.
Very direct. And it emphasizes individual responsibility. The Mahabharata also includes debates, like Bhishma explaining the future isn't just past karma, but also a function of current free will. It's a mix.
That nuance is important.
Definitely. And it shows that Hinduism isn't just one view. If you look at the 6 main philosophical schools, huge diversity. Nyaya, for instance, sees karma as totally central, even arguing it implies God's existence to manage it all. But then Mimamsa gives past lives like barely any role. They focus almost entirely on Vedic rituals in this life. And Vedanta schools, they often bring God or Isvara back in as the dispenser of karmic results. It's a really rich, varied landscape of thought.
Okay, let's shift gears to Buddhism. Karma, or kama in Pali, and karma phala, the result. They're absolutely fundamental there too, right? But the focus is strongly on satana, intention, that quote. Intention satana, I tell you, is kama.
Intending, one does karma by way of body, speech, and intellect. Yes, intention is paramount in Buddhist thought, and crucially, Buddhist karma isn't seen as rigidly deterministic. It's described as more flexible, fluid, and dynamic. The effect of an action depends not just on the action itself, but also on the nature of the person acting, the circumstances. Lots of factors.
Feel less like billiard balls clicking and more like ripples in a pond.
That's a good analogy. And karma phala, the result, is seen as a natural process, cause and effect, not a divine judgment. There's even a text, the Asintita Sutta, which warns that the precise results of karma are incomprehensible. That's Inteya.
Incomprehensible? How so?
Well, the text compares trying to figure it all out to things that could drive you mad. One modern comparison used is the Mandelbrot, set in mathematics.
Oh, the fractal.
Exactly. You can zoom in forever and find infinite complex patterns emerging from a simple formula. The idea is that the web of karmic cause and effect is similarly vast and complex, beyond our simple grasp.
Wow. That really shifts the perspective.
It does. And this flexibility allows for approaches like in Nichiren Buddhism, where the focus is on actively transforming difficult karma through faith and practice in this lifetime.
Now, Jainism. This is where things get really different, according to the source. Karma isn't just a principle here.
Right. In Jainism, karma takes on a almost physical quality. It's described as like karmic dirt, incredibly subtle particles of matter. These particles literally pervade the universe and are attracted to the soul, jiva, because of its actions and passions.
So karma literally sticks to your soul.
That's the idea. Jainism outlines reality through 7 tattvas, or fundamental truths, starting with the soul, jiva, and ending with liberation, mukha. These karmic particles create bondage, bandha, obscuring the soul's natural qualities. Liberation comes through stopping the influx of new karma and shedding the old.
And a key point in Jainism is strict individual accountability, right? No sharing or transferring karma.
Absolutely none. You reap only what you yourself have sown. No divine intervention, no transfer of merit like you see discussed in some Buddhist schools. The analogy often used is gold mixed with impurities. The soul is inherently pure, like gold, but it gets mixed with these karmic impurities. Spiritual practice is about refining it back to its pure state.
And they have a really detailed system, the 8 karmas.
Yes, 8 main types of karmic particles that affect the soul in specific ways, like Jnanavarnya, which obstructs knowledge, Monya, which causes delusion, Ayu, which determines lifespan. It's incredibly specific.
Okay, so beyond those 3 huge traditions, karma's influence pops up elsewhere too, like in Sikhism.
Hmm?
The idea there is that we're all under Maya, this illusion of the world, and karma is the law ensuring we harvest exactly what we sow. Seems pretty aligned.
It shares that core principle of cause and effect tied to action, yes. Then you have Falun Gong, which offers a very distinct take. For them, karma is exclusively negative. It's seen as the source of all suffering, a black substance built up over lifetimes.
So, no good karma in their view.
They use a different term for that. Dai, meaning virtue. That's the white substance, the positive counterpart. And Li Hongxi, the founder, clarifies statements about suffering in medicine, saying suffering can burn off karma, but it's about understanding the relationship between cultivation and healing, not a command to refuse medical help.
Got it. And Taoism. It has a notion of deeds being tracked by deities.
Right, tracked by deities and spirits, with retribution following like a shadow. It seems to have developed in stages. First, simple causality, then ideas about transferring karma, and eventually incorporating rebirth linked to karma, even allowing rituals to help ease karmic debts.
And briefly, Shinto.
Shinto interprets karma, or something analogous, as musubi. This is seen as a force that enriches, empowers, and affirms life. It's more about creative life energy and connection, forming the basis of their worldview.
Okay, with such a widespread and ancient idea, there are bound to be controversies. A big one seems to be free will versus destiny. The source calls it the moral agency problem. Like, if everything is just past karma playing out, are you really responsible now? Should victims blame themselves? Does it kill motivation for moral improvement?
Huge questions, and the responses vary. Many traditions, especially ones focusing on the present life, like yoga or Advaita Vedanta, really push back against pure determinism. They stress that karma includes intent from this life. So you're constantly creating new karma through your conscious choices and actions now. That makes you a moral agent.
So you're not just playing out an old script.
No, you're co-authoring the next scene. Also, they often clarify that karma explains some suffering, particularly related to moral choices, but not necessarily all suffering, distinguishing it from natural evils like earthquakes. It leaves room for agency.
But there's still that psychological indeterminacy, right? You can't know your past karma for sure. So how do you know if your current suffering is payback or just something you can fix now?
That's a genuine challenge, absolutely. It makes it hard to apply the theory cleanly in practice sometimes. And this isn't unique to karma. Religions with a concept of a divine plan face similar issues of not knowing the full picture. The schools focusing on rebirth face this most directly.
And what about transferability? The idea that merit or good karma can be transferred?
Yeah, that's a significant point of difference. Some Mahayana Buddhist school embrace it, often linked to bodhisattvas, sharing merit or encouraging religious giving. But this is strongly rejected by most Hindu schools, and especially by Jainism. Their view is adamant. Karma is strictly individual. You cannot give yours away or take someone else's.
So individual accountability versus maybe collective spiritual benefit. A real tension there.
Definitely. Proponents argue it fosters compassion and generosity, while opponents insist it undermines personal responsibility.
Okay, and the really big one. The problem of evil. Why is there so much suffering in the world? How does karma explain that?
Well, the framing is different than in, say, Abrahamic religions. Many Indian traditions aren't based on an all-powerful, all-good creator God in the same way. So the question isn't necessarily, why would a good God allow this? For non-theistic schools, it's just how the law of karma works. Even the theistic Hindu schools often characterize God differently. The Mahabharata, for instance, actually debates 3 potential causes for good and evil: God's will, karma, and pure chance. Yaja. And it doesn't really land on a single definitive answer.
So no easy answer there either.
Not really. Many Indian traditions seem to position karma as a principle of innate justice centered on human action and consequence, rather than divine judgment or plan. There's criticism, of course, especially regarding the suffering of innocents, like children. But proponents argue this is often a misunderstanding, that karma doesn't negate compassion or the need to alleviate suffering now, regardless of past causes.
It's fascinating how much karma, or the idea behind it, echoes in Western culture. That saying, what goes around comes around, it's everywhere.
It really is pervasive. You can even see parallels in Christianity. Notions of sin having consequences, or teachings like one reaps what one sows in Galatians.
Or live by the sword, die by the sword.
Exactly. Though scholars usually distinguish it from the idea of a single last judgment. Karma is generally seen as an ongoing, continuous process.
And in Judaism, there's mida, neged mida, measure for measure.
Yes, Rabbi David Wolpe drew a comparison there, seeing it as a form of divine retribution akin to karma's cause and effect.
What about more modern fields, like psychoanalysis?
Ah, Carl Jung, he had that famous line, "When an inner situation is not made conscious, it appears outside as fate."
That sounds remarkably like karma's emphasis on inner states and intention shaping outer reality.
It really does. Practices like meditation or metacognition, which aim to increase self-awareness. You could see them as ways to reduce negative karmic patterns, almost like fostering emotional hygiene towards what Jung called individuation or self-actualization, maybe states hypothetically devoid of any karma. And there's even actual scientific evidence now showing long-term meditation can cause neuronal changes. Our interactions can literally reshape our brains.
And finally, theosophy. They really brought karma into Western popular awareness, didn't they?
They certainly played a huge role, popularizing it and leading to ideas like the law of return or the Wiccan threefold law. Theosophist I.K. Tandy put it quite clearly, karma is nothing but the law of cause and effect operating in the realm of human life, bringing about adjustments based on thoughts, emotions, and actions.
So wrapping this all up, wow, karma is way more than just cosmic payback. It's this incredibly profound, complex idea, action, intention, consequence, rebirth, ethics. Debated and interpreted so differently across traditions and centuries, it's less about what just happens to you and much more about what you do and, crucially, what you intend.
Absolutely. Which leads us maybe to a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. If karma really does operate as this kind of self-regulating universal principle based on our intentional actions, what new karma are you consciously choosing to create in your life? Not just for yourself, but maybe for those around you too, starting right now, today.
Something powerful to think about. Keep exploring, keep reflecting. We'll be back soon for another deep dive.